Well, hey everybody, it's Preston here, aka Godzilla Hawk, and we are here with the one and only
Captain Asshole. Go yourself.
You too. So yesterday we did a fantasy draft video. We actually wanted to do a different one, but this one was really on Brandon's part. Brandon wanted to kind of like because half of this video is mainly Brandon wants to discuss pretty much a nitpick about Fastlane. Well, when we get to Fastlane, he'll explain our problem.
What this is about is we have problems, and we've seen the same thing with everybody seems to have a problem with the names of the pay-per-view events from the WWE. Well, we've decided that this rant will not only be a rant, but an idea based off of the Fastlane pay-per-view, so that we can actually say what you could do because you called it that. Just don't call it turd sandwich. You know. I mean, we might have future rants about the other names, but for right now, we're focused on the one that's really important, which is Fastlane, the one that leads into WrestleMania.
Well, the thing is, I want to go to the pay-per-view rant more because, well, that's me personally. Again, the Fastlane, that's all your idea, and you have an idea. You're going to have all the time to talk, explain your situation about that. But here's the thing. This has always been nitpick when it comes to wrestling pay-per-views. Well, mainly in WWE. I don't know how to explain it because I feel like I'm a broken record player because I nitpick about this every fucking time they've done this. It angers me because it's pretty much like, first of all, like, what happened to creative names for pay-per-views? Like, what happened to creativity? What happened to creative sets?
And what happened to bra and panties matches?
What happened without being fucking? I'm being fucking serious here because I'm fucking angry at this.
You don't miss those matches? I
do. I
Corey Wilson and the phone.
Okay, that's what porn's for. But see, here's the thing. I'm trying to be fucking serious here. Yeah. I'm actually being fucking angry about this. It pisses me off every fucking time. I get pissed off. For example, Elimination Chamber this year. You know what pisses me off? The fact that I know, okay, Elimination Chamber is coming out February, and what's even worse is I can tell who's winning the chamber. That pisses me off. I don't like that, where the pay-per-view, you know what match is going to get. Here's the thing. Here's the difference between this year and last year. Same thing, but here's the difference from last year. Last year, it was predictable, but for the right reason. It was Bray Wyatt winning, and I was happy with it. It was still a good match. The problem is, imagine if this was a chamber match, let's say at SummerSlam, and Bray Wyatt won. Here they would have lost even more, and it would have been freaking, this is amazing. Everyone would have been passing the message around. This year, it's a chamber match. You know what I mean? Look at the competitors so far. You got Elias Sampson that surprised me. That right there, I'm guaranteed he's going to be a world champion. Just the fact they're doing that with him. Braun Strowman. You got John Cena. You have Roman Reigns. You have the Intercontinental Champion. And
you have the biggest barriers, and you have of careers.
And then you're most likely going to get Finn Balor. He's going to win. And so you have all these unique talents. Now on paper, this sounds good. It's like, oh my God, like there's so many possibilities. We could get Finn Balor and Brock Lesnar like an underdog. You could do like The Miz versus Brock Lesnar. That would be kind of different. You can do Samson. That would be a curveball. You could get Strowman, Lesnar rematch, and Strowman can win the title. But we all know what's going to happen because we've been predicting it since before WrestleMania 33 last year. It's going to be Roman Reigns, and no one's excited about it. That's why I'm not excited. That's why I'm not excited for this match because it could be the best Elimination Chamber match possible. At the end of the day, I know what's going to happen. It's fun. It also makes me angry where, like, for example, Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon. Their rivalry has been good, and I like that. But the problem is, they're going to Hell in a Cell. We know what the match was going to be. It was going to be a Hell in a Cell match between those two. The only difference was they added the Falls Count Anywhere stipulation to it. That was the only change. That's why it's predictable. Or the Usos and New Day. Imagine that match had that blow-off match happen, let's say, at Clash of Champions. And a Hell in a Cell match between those two. I would have fucking lost my shit. The rest of the card could be shit if I was I can't wait for that match. I'm excited. And that would revolutionize tag team division. But instead, we knew it was going to happen because it was going to happen because that was the next build-up match. That was the other match that was built up and actually doing good, in which I give Road Dogg credit, was the feud between them. But it's just like, that's what makes me angry. The only one I accept are stuff like Royal Rumble and Money in the Bank. That's it. Because, like Mitch said like years ago, it's like a can of rain. It's like it's that opportunity.
And the Survivor Series.
It's like that opportunity. It's that opportunity that this could happen. You could get this, and that's just a big nitpick. And I also hate the fact that, yes, it's better because in terms of this year, because at least Raw and SmackDown actually have different stages between the two for the most part. But what makes me kind of irritate is, for example, Raw Elimination Chamber. It's gonna be the same set as Raw is. No changes. They might change the Titantron a little bit, but it's still the same stage. And there's nothing unique about it. Like, and that's a problem. I think that's their excuse saying, well, this is a Raw pay-per-view. If you want to make a Raw pay-per-view, make the ropes fucking red so everyone knows this is Raw pay-per-view. That's a thing that's always been a nitpick of mine. When you're having a pay-per-view and if it's a brand, this is how I honestly think it should be. And this includes NXT. If you're going to do Raw, whether it's a Raw or a Raw pay-per-view, except live events. You can excuse live events. Always red ropes so everyone knows this is Raw. SmackDown, always SmackDown. A dual pay-per-view. Bring back the black ropes. I like the black ropes, so it made it stand out. NXT, always yellow ropes. And then for their takeovers, keep it white. Like that, it's called.
There's quite a big spectrum of color they could use. They just have to try.
And that just it makes me angry. It's just like, and again with the whole October Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, I know they do the Coma Cure thing with the pink rope, and that's fine. Because I was angry because they still used the blue ropes, which honestly, I honestly thought they were going to use white ropes. Because I just thought, like, fuck it. Like, out of all of them, SmackDown was doing the worst of it. But I believe in tradition. And I'm not saying, like, these shows mean they're garbage. But it's just, like, I'm going to be real for you. What would be more exciting? Having a Hell in a Cell match between Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon at pay-per-view, being announced on pay-per-view called Hell in a Cell, or having Shane and Kevin Owens having a match, let's say, like a Backlash or something, randomly. Like, what do you think people are going to go more towards? Like, the obvious, like, well, obviously they're going to have a match, or inside Hell in a Cell, because Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Bear one. Here's a bear one. Sasha Banks and Charlotte. That was the big speculation. Are they actually going to have a Hell in a Cell match? What makes more sense? Put them in the main event of a pay-per-view called Hell in a Cell? Or have them be a main event that say, like, I don't know, like, fucking, like, Battleground or something in the main event of that, and people go, holy shit, because that's the one thing. Because let's say, like, again, Brock Lesnar's not there, but you have that Hell in a Cell match in there. It's a rivalry. There's a story behind it, and now you're going to end it inside Hell in a Cell. So people go, you know what? Actually, that's better. Why didn't you do that for Roadblock? Besides Fastlane, that's that other pay-per-view that's a kind of a joke. It's Roadblock. I mean, the first time they did, it felt like a live event. It was just a random WWE live event, like special. Then what happened? They called it Roadblock. End of the line. Why call it end of the line? That's so redundant. Just call it Roadblock. And then the pay-per-view was nothing. It just felt like seriously, do you remember anything from it? I'll tell you why I remember it. The only thing I remember mostly is the only things I can remember on top of my head are Rollins and Jericho fighting for like the 6th time. Now, normally I would be more excited for that match if they didn't fucking do that every time on Raw building up to it. I saw Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns in a stupid finish. Made Kevin Owens look extremely weak. And then the only other thing I remember was Charlotte and fucking Sasha Banks in an Iron Woman match that was just solid. It wasn't good. It wasn't great. But it was just like, you could tell, like, if you're going to watch any Iron Woman match, go watch Sasha and Bayley TakeOver. They tell a better story and have a better match. And that's what kind of gets me irritated, these lack of creative names. And then it's like, in Fastlane, yes, it's a generic dumb name, but I'd rather have something like Fastlane than have something like, oh, we're going to have Extreme Rules. Because it's just like, at least it's different, but the problem is, again, he'll get into that more later, but it's just like my biggest problem is like not just the names and the ropes and the stages, but it's just, it feels like unless it's a Royal Rumble or mostly a WrestleMania, none of the pay-per-views matter. It's just, there's lack of creativity. The pay-per-views should be the ones where you go, I got launches. I get that. You know, for example, for football, Super Bowl is the event you want to go to. That's the one you want to watch. That is fine. But like, for example, you'll see them doing like the playoffs and be like, oh, these are the jokes. Just throw random stuff on there for Super Bowl. No, because when it's the playoffs, fans get excited. You see some new games. You see some new teams face up. You get excited. Even if it's the Niners and fucking Raiders again, you know those hardcore fans are going to want to watch the playoffs because they want to see their team be at their Super Bowl. It's the same thing. Like, that's one of the reasons why I loved about No Way Out. That should have been the pay-per-view because look at all this. There's so much stuff that happened in No Way Out. You have fucking Rock and Undertaker, 2002. You have fucking Triple H and Kurt Angle. Winner got to fight Chris Jericho for the Undisputed Championship. Triple H was putting his number one contender Royal Rumble contendership on the line. And Steven McMahon was the fucking referee in that match. good storytelling. You had Eddie Guerrero winning the WWE champion, a so-called vanilla midget, beating Brock Lesnar, winning the WWE championship is still one of the biggest moments. It made that pay-per-view mean more. And they could have easily done that Mania, and it could have been a WrestleMania moment. They did for No Way Out. And they didn't have to, but it made No Way Out that much more special. Like, stuff like this could happen. Like, and that's what I loved about it. Like, even Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio put his number one contendership on the line after he won the Rumble for Eddie Guerrero. Orton won. And fucking, what happened? What happened? And everyone's like, oh my God, they're going to do Orton and Kurt Angle for the world title. But you know what they did? They still added Orton match, but Daniel Bryan's like, you know what? You still won the Rumble and you still gave your heart out. I'm adding you to the match. And they became a triple threat. And it made it more interesting for Mania. It's like, and here's another prime example. They gave away WrestleMania main event matches on fucking No Way Out. Main event, 2007. One of the rarest DVDs you'll find, the main event. That should have been WrestleMania worthy. Kurt Angle and Undertaker. The wrestling machine Kurt Angle, like the ball-head wrestling machine Kurt Angle versus the Dead Man Undertaker. 2006 was the main event for World Heavyweight Championship. Very good match. And they gave that match that was a WrestleMania caliber main event, and they put on something like No Way Out. And again, it's not just No Way Out, but there's other pay-per-views. Look at No Mercy. Undertaker and Brock Lesnar when they first fought inside Hell in a Cell. That was WrestleMania worthy. And look what happened. That's one of the best Hell in a Cell matches you'll ever watch. And people still go back to that one. Fuck it, because not just because it was a Hell in a Cell match, like spark interest, but because the story was good and and the match quality was good. It was just great. There's so many moments like from like even Backlash. Backlash had its moments too. Fucking.
Well, you're talking about individual one-on-one match, like you're individual matches between this person, that person.
But but it's just like even with it just one-on-one matches. If you want to go, let's look at Armageddon. The December pay-per-view. First ever 6-man Hell in a Cell match, and that blew up everybody. I wouldn't have been the internet. I don't know if the internet was still around, but if the YWC was still around like today in today's era, and we announced that match, the internet would fucking just blow up out of fucking excitement and just be like, everyone, Armageddon Hell in a Cell match, 6 men, watch this match, and it's just like. It creates the excitement. That's why when you did Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, it was one of the things why you look forward to Mania. But the thing is, though, with Money in the Bank, it's become its own thing like a King of Rings. So that I can excuse. You can keep Money in the Bank, and now it's going to be it's going to be the big 5 now with Money in the Bank. And I'm fine with that because Money in the Bank has its moments too, like the Money in the Bank, but it's also had John Cena, CM Punk, 1-on-1, 5-star match. That was the last match rated by Dave Meltzer as a 5-star match. The recent one was Cien Almas and Gargano recently. And that tells you something like you can have these B-level pay-per-views like a Roadblock, but you can do something with it. You can add the starter. You can make it worth something. And that's what I want. I want pay-per-views like Fastlane to mean something. I don't want it just to be, oh, great, here comes just another little break before the actual show. I want it to be like, yeah, it's done for me, but I'm curious to see like what they do for Fastlane. Like,
well, now you're talking about hype. You're not talking about purpose of names. You're talking about hype right now.
But you see that's the thing. But I'm trying to. You understand where I'm trying to come from?
No, I understand. But you're still hitting on hype matches.
But here's the thing. You need everything because you need the hype. You need to. Fuck you really threw me off, and you're missing the. Okay. Fuck. I'm again. Fuck, dude.
And all these pay-per-views are getting ruined.
Well, just the bottom line is, why can't you make every pay-per-view almost like a Mania? Why can't you make every pay-per-view at least worth something? Like Roadblock. Like, why can't you make that something? Like, why can't you make that to like a Survivor Series? Why can't you give that the same share? Fastlane. Fastlane can have some potential. Yeah, it's a generic fucking name, but you can make it into its own thing and make it people go, oh, Fastlane's coming. Oh, I like. They usually do this. Why do you think something like Bound for Glory worked for TNA? Because it was one thing they always did. It was that little specialty they always did. But again, I know it's kind of a bad thing, but it's just bottom line. It's just I want more creative names. I want creativity. I want these gimmick pay-per-views going, except Rumble, Money in the Bank. Those can stay. But like, if you're gonna do something like bring back Over Limit or fucking like you said, like keep Fastlane. Have it mean something.
There should be a match that would resemble the title or resemble the title of the pay-per-view, right? Why would it be called Over Limit? Because we made a match that was like, holy fuck, and we just started stacking the card for that match and making it a little more than just a regular match type of thing, right? Or
it's a little bit of that, but at the same time, it's like that kind of goes back to being a person like Elimination Chamber, because it's like Elimination Chamber. It's supposed to be Chamber, but that's the problem. It should not be called Elimination Chamber because then it ruins the match. Why do you think people blew up our seat when they did Chamber, let's say like SummerSlam 2003? Because nobody expected it. It was, wait, what? We're getting a Chamber match at the SummerSlam? And that's what I like. It's like, I'm not saying, for example, I know what you're going to get to, and you're going to have a lot of talk about the Fastlane thing in a minute. But when it comes to the whole gimmick pay-per-view, just give me the gimmick pay-per-views, come up with some new names, be a little bit more creative, and also have a purpose for the pay-per-view. Not just like okay, this is just a $60 show that you can watch on TV for free, like a Raw or SmackDown, like they currently are, because they're doing such a great job on that consistently. Unless it's a takeover, it ain't worth money. Am I lying? Am I lying that part? I mean, so far anyway. I mean, let's look at last year. I mean, there were some decent pay-per-views, but it's just some like okay ones. But most of them were very forgettable or shit. They were. I mean, literally the best pay-per-view, in my opinion, last year was still Elimination Chamber, and now it's just that's just because fucking the entire card was good. Besides that 2-on-1 handicap match, that they have was kind of stupid, but I still enjoyed it. But again, you can still have a good show, but the problem is, imagine if that was No Way Out instead of Elimination Chamber. How many more people would go into that period going more excited? And if it wasn't just for the internet leaking everything, like imagine what that would have done. That they would have made a bigger pay-per-view, would have made it more famous. And then what happened? You have Fastlane. You got Goldberg and Kevin Owens in the main event. That screams like that could be a big deal. But they treated it as a 20-second Goldberg squash fest, and then they fucking buried Kevin Owens into a joke after that. And it's like, Fastlane, you had Goldberg, for God's sakes. You had the star power, but the match quality and everything else and like what it represented, it just felt like watching a Raw. It felt like watching Raw. There was nothing special about that event, and that's why this is why we rant on Fastlane. This goes to Fastlane now. Every year, it gets worse, and I keep saying the 0-3 Fastlane curse. I'm going to call it the Fastlane curse because there's never been good Fastlane. Even the beginning one, it was more of a test ground. Literally, the only thing to really remember was Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan, and then that segment where Steen and Triple H set up their match at the end. That was it. Everything else, I don't even remember.
That's exactly the point for Fastlane. I mean, it's the last pay-per-view for one of the shows before you hit WrestleMania, so it's supposed to be something big.
Well, or at least not something big, but at least something like relevant or memorable, or at least something that's like gets you going. This is no WrestleMania, but this is something that should be like you said, when you're on the road to WrestleMania, that's usually when it's the best years. And every pay-per-view leading up to Mania after Royal Rumble should have a purpose. It should have a meaning to it behind it. It should be like, oh, this is like I said, why do you think we get so excited for Royal Rumble? Because we know this is when WrestleMania starts kicking. This is our show. This is our Super Bowl. This is when we get excited. But when we get like Chamber and Fastlane, it's just like, it's like sometimes you'll get a good show, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like, was it really like worth it? Like the Chamber could still have good shows, but again, the gimmick name ruins it. And the Fastlane is just a joke on its own. Like again, how many times did like Fastlane fucking 2016? I'll say right now, the only good match, AJ Styles and Chris Jericho. Everything else, triple threat match with fucking Lesnar in there. That's fun. That was boring. I'm sorry, it was. And then Fastlane last year, I'm saying right now, one of the worst pay-per-views I've ever seen in my entire life. I like fuck Battleground. People say was the worst last year. At least I was able to talk about it in a calm way. Fastlane, I fucking road rage. It was like Extreme Rules 2015 when you were there, and I flipped out on that one where you had like Luke Harper, Dean Ambrose in a street fight, and that had potential to be fucking amazing. And all it did was just fucking have gone to a car, they drove off, and then an hour later they came back, did like a couple spots with chairs, and then that was it. And I was just like, whoa, like what? Like why? Like why do that? And that's the problem. And that's the whole part about this video is not just pay-per-view rants, but Brand and I have the same problem when it comes to Fastlane in particular, because we know Chambers coming up first, but then we're getting Fastlane, and we know. I mean, let's look at Fastlane right now, but very quickly.
Well, we mentioned it. Like, we don't want to overlook the fact that Elimination Chambers coming up. We want to put that out there that we understand you got to have Chambers at the Elimination Chamber. That's fine. You might want to change the name of it though. You don't have to call it Elimination Chamber. We know it's what it is.
Just call it back No Way Out, and that could be a chamber because it has a name behind it.
And then you can bring back. You could have one chamber match and have the other one be just a steel cage match.
Well, that's a little trickier because they usually have the steel cage hanging above.
Well, it's just a hanging system. You just hang one inside of another.
Well, but I understand. But again, sorry to interrupt you, but because you have a lot to talk about. Trust me, he has his idea planned out. But it's just Fastlane should mean something, and it just angers me because every time I think of this pay-per-view, it just angers me. I mean, they're really looking about this year. What's the build-up for this year? First of all, you had AJ's on. We know AJ's going to defend the title fast. And we were like, the build was Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Like, there's going to be friction between them. And first of all, they had opportunity. I would love to just see Kevin Owens or AJ Styles and Sami Zayn 1-on-1. That's something different. And there's more. There's more story behind that. But what do? They do the traditional Road Dogg or WWE Vince McMahon cop out. It's going to be a double count-out match, and it's automatically triple threat. So it's almost the same match we got at Royal Rumble. But now what do they do now? Without no story whatsoever, no story. The random match of Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin, they just threw off that they're going to throw for next week that they announced. Gentleman on Twitter, where that match has become number one contender, or is going to be added to that triple threat match to a four-way. Watch, I'm going to be surprised if that match ends in no contest, and then it just becomes a fatal five-way. And
just for the hell of it. And just for fuck's sake, we'll put in someone else.
And that's pretty much the base of it. It's just like, what's the surprise? What's the fun in that? And that's what makes me mad too. Is the random that's why five-way matches were so fun because they were fucking rare. They were so rare. But now we get so many fatal five-ways. Now it's kind of redundant. It can still be good. I'm not saying that match of Fastlane could be bad. It can still be good and solid. But the problem is we're not going to be as excited about it because we've seen it so many times. It's the same thing with the Rumble. Having two Rumbles itself, it's a little bit of a spam. Why do you think having 3 Hell in a Cell matches ruins Hell in a Cell? Because it's like usually they have one Hell in a Cell, and that was the big match, one big matches, and it had meaning behind it, and that's why it's so weird. But when it comes to Fastlane, it's just an excuse to have another show before Mania, and it's just another Raw or SmackDown. And again, this could be their best Fastlane by far, but that's not saying much because I'm not looking forward to this pay-per-view as much because honestly, it's still a Vinnie Mac show.
It's an 0 for 3.
It's still like
it has a tradition of just sucking.
And what makes it worse is like it's not even Ryan Ward writing it anymore. So it's not even going to be like it has potential to be good or even solid. It's Road Dogg, and ever since Road Dogg took over, pay-per-views started declining. No joke, Brandon actually told me this. That no joke. In his words, he said Raws and SmackDowns are feeling the same. They're very stale. There's no creativity. And he admits, he agrees with me at this point, Road Dogg is just, it's not making it better. And I hate saying that, but it's just creative writing for Road Dogg, it's just not his thing. And I don't care if it's because Vaymac tells him to do this or Road Dogg just, this is his job and he's honestly doing this himself. But I'm honestly scared for Fastlane. Fastlane, it's just going to get worse. And I have that feeling that Fastlane, it just has no purpose. And that's why I say get rid of Fastlane and just bring back like No Way Out or bring back a different pay-per-view, like call it something else because Fastlane is such a joke.
Well,
until Brandon came with this.
That does lead me to the point that I was going to make for Fastlane. It's not that you have to replace the names, but if you're going to use a name like Fastlane, you should probably have a point of being called that, especially this close to WrestleMania. I believe that any pay-per-view that goes between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania should have impact on WrestleMania. So it should have an importance to it. Does it have to be a match in per se that does that? Not necessarily. But you could start traditional, simple stipulations for pay-per-views. So what we had originally, you can for reference on this, you can call it the reference for it be TLC. Look at TLC. What do you get? You get individual matches. You get ladder matches, table matches, chair matches, even stair matches. Fuck, chair matches. I'm sorry, stair matches.
Oh God, the fact they did
The
that.
stair matches. Now, let me make this quite clear. TLC is tables, ladders, and chairs, which means it's a single match involving all three. And the stairs are part of the ring. It doesn't count as an actual match. Unless the first person to break the other person's skull open with the stairs counts. I'm just saying, when you broke it down and used those stipulations, it killed TLC so bad. So bad. And now people hear TLC like, hey, who gives a fuck? I want to bring it back to a tradition based off of taking a name for a pay-per-view and doing something that represents that pay-per-view's name. We're talking about Fastlane for my idea. And this only because I'm only putting this out there simply because the WWE copied my exact idea for a certain IC title ladder match at WrestleMania 2 years in a row. And they literally stole the show doing that. I got to point this out that if this happens again, y'all hit me up and let me know how great it was that Brando said this out loud. I think Fastlane should literally mean Fastlane, the track to the main title. I think at Fastlane, the main title holder, main champion, should not have a number one contender for that match until the last show for that show before the actual pay-per-view. So if SmackDown is going to have Fastlane, the last SmackDown before Fastlane, you have a main champion, be the WWE champion, without a number one contender. And just for shits and giggles, they'll fill the ring with the main guys for that pay-per-view. You'll have your US title and your tag team, I guess it'd be called your SmackDown tag team champions. And then you'll have their number one contenders. You're going to have a total of 6 guys in that ring. Then you'll bring out your main title guy. There's number 7. Then you'll have your general manager come down. Now, in the ring, I was thinking, let's be creative. A long time ago, when I used to watch, they had this little roulette wheel just to screw with people back when they had really evil characters being general managers.
Like Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, and they'd be like, you know what? Your match isn't good enough. Let me see if I can make it worse. And they'd spin a wheel. But usually they'd be on the Titantron from the back, so you would be a part of it. They could bring that back too, just so that the GM would have less management on this last bit of the show. And you could do this portion of it like at the beginning of the show or at the end based off of certain things. And you could have on this roulette wheel things like your pick, which means you pick your opponent. Champion's decision. You could have things like Battle Royale, which would suck. You could literally land on a ladder match. Ugh. Stuff like that. Basic stuff. But your GM could spin it to the back, or if you want to do the first one and you do it in the ring with everybody, it would be a lot more like believable. And the first thing they'd do is they'd say, Fastlane's about one-upping where you've been in the company, seeing if you can perform at that next level. So they'd ask the mid-card title, and you're going to understand what cash-in is because you know what, if you're a wrestling fan, you know what TNA does with their X division. This is based off that for a good degree, but goes further. They'd ask their mid-card title, so U.S. champion. Do you want to hand in your title to go straight up as being the number one contender against, the WWE champion at Fastlane? A straight up title shot. That means they get a chance to not only perform at that level, but if they say, okay, we're pushing this guy and he could win it, he could also go to WrestleMania. We could, unpredictable, could love it. He says yes. Now U.S. title's vacant, but you have a number one contender. You take that number one contender, make him spin the wheel. That's a stipulation that he will now face a random person for the vacant title. See? Not too bad. But the GM will go and pick someone else to promote. For that match to knock the house down with, right? And here's the thing I wanted to make about it was it's not right just involve one title for that. And I want to make this really good. So I made it extensive. I was like, maybe the mid-card champion, the U.S. champion, does not want to hand it because he likes, like, John Cena loves his U.S. title. Okay. Turns to the tag team champions and say, hey, You guys this is more based off Raw. You got a tag team champions that one's injured, or they're both better off being single competitors and should be on the main title, area. They both can hand in their tag team titles and have a triple threat match for the main title at Fastlane. Now Fastlane's getting interesting. And again, same thing would apply. Their number one contenders would spin the wheel. Same thing. A few things would just rip off like it was Velcroed on there so that you can change the stipulations that don't fit for a tag team division, right? Now, say maybe none of those title holders want to give up their titles. Their number one contenders can actually get a chance at going and skipping their title match to go face the main guy. Now, if they don't want to do it, the main champion will spin the wheel, and that's going to be his match stipulation for his title at Fastlane, and the GM will have to go pick his challengers or challengers for it. Another stipulation I want to put on that is, again, going backwards to the tag team champions, maybe only one of them wants to give up the title and the other one does not. Well, the one that gives up the title gets his shot at the champion. This eliminates the roulette wheel completely. The titles become vacant, and the one that's currently the one left that was holding the titles will automatically get to pick his new partner to face the number one contenders for the vacant tag team titles. So you can break and remake tag teams easily that way. You can fix your oops, I shouldn't have done that. And you won't be stuck with people who shouldn't be tagging together, like Rhino and Heath Slater.
Or God forbid, Jordan and Raw ones.
Yes. It gives you a way out. It takes a year, sometimes 2 years for it to come back to your show, but it gives you an out to promote individual wrestling and remake good tag teams that you should never split apart. Just saying. Having said that, again, to help promote the show, I brought the roulette wheel back because I also think they should have a very interesting thing. We had one hell of a time with the WWE Universe casting their votes for things. On that roulette wheel, I decided that it should have a square that says vote, where the GM will pick the top 3 or 4 competitors for their show. And that would be where they would promote this particular segment at the beginning of the show, preferably. And if the roulette landed on vote, the universe would vote all night long. And at the end of the night, the GM would come out and reveal who's going to face who, because it could be the number one contender for the U.S. or IC title who landed on vote. It could be anybody who ended up landing on vote. See who's going to be getting in there. That gets all of us involved. All this is literally taking someone who's obscure and put them on the fast track towards the title pictures. Taking them out of mid-card titles and putting them where they belong in the big title picture. This is a tool. This is a very basic tool that they could have used. And it's so basic, they overlook it. And they're like, well, that's a little bit much for a pay-per-view. And I'm like, your shows are sucking. Stop overlooking basic stuff. Maybe the problem is you're trying too hard to promote the same shit. Something new. You don't have to do this every year. Now, like for instance, I only showed mid-card and tag team for this. He brought this up earlier. Cruiserweights. Everybody knows cruiserweight divisions can face heavyweight division and tear the house down. They can do excellent things. They don't have to be promoted this way, but they could. And oh man, it just opens up the doors for people who are stuck in a lower division and want to move up. And there's not the opportunity based off what's been planned to do that. This allows you to just skip the 6 months of slow build-up to finally put them in that picture. This allows you to skip that, and they can have. They don't have to win, but allows them to show, hey, I'm showcasing my abilities. I could be a main eventer. Win or lose, I perform at a higher peak than what you think I do. And when I hear Fastlane, that's the first thing I think is getting there faster, getting where they want to be faster. So people who want to be involved in the title pictures, maybe guys who dropped out of the U.S. title run because they had their characters changed. They went from face to heel or heel to face, and people went bleh, and they fucking dropped off the map. They can now re-inject them. They can do that now, and it would be reasonable to do that because people are like, well, they got to have someone to challenge for it. At the same time, they can come out if they push hard enough to promote themselves on this one segment, one night. They can actually revamp a character and prove its value with one show. One show. You could take someone who you've literally had jobbing and jobbing and jobbing, and you're like, you know what? I know this guy can hold a title. We don't want him to walk away from our company. Bam, Fastlane, you got it. You're the next title holder. You're just gonna take the place of the main guy holding the title. Is gonna trade in his mid card, go for the main title. It's gonna be up for grabs. You're going to go take his place in that match. You're gonna win the title. Boom, just like that. And it would be believable. Plus, it fits the name Fastlane. This literally means that your guys are stepping up, going faster in your career than build up would let you do. And it would have an impact, no matter how you look at it, it would have an impact on WrestleMania. So it makes sense to do it because now it makes it a relevant pay-per-view. It will do something for the next biggest show you're going to have all year long. So that was my idea for that. That's just an idea, okay? I can't say anything about this or that because, I don't fucking work for nobody. But had to draw it because, my brain doesn't work too well. Everybody involved has to play their part for this to work. Now, if all these guys can do their job really well and the GM can't act worth the shit, that's going to be a problem because he's got to be able to do something. And like I said, there's also, at one point, you could literally have all these guys in the ring and it breaks down. They all start fighting each other. And now you have an issue. GM's trying to get their attention. He gets knocked down. He gets pissed, screams into the mic, says, knock it off. He goes, you know what? You guys suck. Just for that, you're all getting a stipulation. You all get a spin of the wheel. And he spins the wheel. And now every championship is being defended by stipulation. Now you got yourself a hardcore surprise for freaking every match at Fastlane. Just to screw with them because they wouldn't listen. That's storytelling. That would be interesting. Even if it's only 1 day before, 1 week before the pay-per-view, it would be very interesting to catch people's attention that way. They're thinking, this is going to be stupid. These guys are facing off. And it's like, oh, by the way, it's going to be a ladder match. By the way, it's going to be a lumberjack match. Oh, just so you understand, it's now a triple threat match, so I'm going to pick some random guy in the back and interject him into the show. Maybe I'll pick someone so fast that they'll be able to kick you out of every pin for the first half an hour and make the match that much longer. Maybe your stipulation of your match becomes an Iron Man match, and you have to prove that you are the title holder for a reason. This is the type of thing that would make Fastlane worth watching. Also make the title of the show worth being that. But they literally decided to strap on the name Fastlane and promote Hot Wheels. I don't understand that. I don't like that. Now, there's a lot of shows whose stipulations can be changed. Simply because it's Hell in a Cell doesn't mean you have to have Hell in a Cell matches back and forth. I mean, it's nice because, Elimination Chamber, you obviously going to have at least one. But they don't have to be for your main titles. They don't have to be for any titles. It could just be 6 guys beating the fuck out of each other for #1 contendership at whatever. It could just be 6 guys who want to kill each other because that's the way you promoted them. You're like, I took the 6 most sadistic guys, stuck in a steel cage, and said, "Don't stop till everybody's bleeding." They could do that, and it would be a hell of a match. But the problem is when you call a pay-per-view a name that's a name for a match, it ruins the value of the match because this is probably where you were touching on. Hell in a Cell is special, no matter what pay-per-view it is, no matter what show it's on, it's special. You don't need a pay-per-view to guarantee that you're going to have it, to enjoy this match, to know it's going to be there eventually. You should promote the match on multiple shows. I think that you should change the show names for most of the pay-per-views to where they don't have the name of a match on them. I love TLC. I'm probably the only one I'm going to argue the point of is TLC, only because I think TLC is a tradition that I grew up watching, and I love TLC matches. They should never have broken them down into individual. That was stupid. There should be one TLC match at TLC, whether it be for some tag team titles, intercontinental titles, or no titles. Just two guys hate each other. I don't care, but there should be one. You can keep it called that just for that. I'd be okay with that. Just like Hell in a Cell, and same thing for Elimination Chamber. I'd be okay with that. The Royal Rumble, duh. And of course, Money in the Bank, duh. But you need to singleize it and at the same time acknowledge the fact that you can use those matches at other pay-per-views. On top of all, if your pay-per-view does not resemble what its title is, you might want to start thinking about that. You know, like you said, No Way Out, sink or swim type of thing. Obviously, your matches have to have big impact. You either are going to win this title or you're not getting another shot at it as long as that person holds it. How about that one? That was a great stipulation. I love shit like that. What was the other one? No Mercy. No Mercy, let's face facts. No Mercy was about promoting hardcore matches where you literally beat the shit out of each other. At one point, it was about first blood matches. I loved that shit. Oh my god. First person to bleed. Let me get out the screwdriver. Love shit like that. But I know that they PG'd up the titles. I know they PG'd up every title of every show they're going to promote. If the next pay-per-view that you're already looking at is the one before a major pay-per-view that is like your big cash cow, it has to have a little more relevance than just like, oh, look, this guy faced this guy, and that was so great. There's got to be something more to it. And I know that it's a little bit of a contrasting ideas between me and Preston here, but I think it'd be more entertaining, and you could also do a lot more storytelling the correct way that way. And if the storytelling doesn't fit, it doesn't work, and it ruins the next pay-per-view a little bit, because a weak pay-per-view followed by the major pay-per-view, it takes away from the value of the major pay-per-view. It should always lead into it. If it doesn't have purpose, it doesn't need to be there. And because we're not going to get rid of the pay-per-view, do something for it. That idea, that's just one. Okay? I have like 5 or 6 others, but I'm not going to go into that right now. But Fastlane is my biggest letdown out of every pay-per-view today. That is my biggest letdown. He also touched on something else, the creativeness about the arenas. I hadn't really thought about it in a long time. I know SmackDown had the fist.
Yeah, and then Raw had
I'm not going to lie. No matter how you looked at it, I love the fist.
Everybody did.
I love that fist. That was great. You walk out, you look up, and you're like, God, I hope they don't fall and I get fisted.
The fist, it also represents SmackDown because it's like a fist. Like he's going to lay a SmackDown on you.
Yeah. Raw it was great. It was great. Raw, I remember when Raw used to have flames, decorative flames up and down the Titantron. I was like, whoa, it looks like hell. It was kind of nice. But you don't see it now. Now it's basic, very steel, and it's like, what the fuck? And it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. And I know things have to change with the new generations and all going forward. I know. But that was something that we all traditionally like to see. We want to see how you're going to decorate the arena next. That counts too. Because storyboard only tells so much. But the decoration of the arena during the pay-per-view resembles how intense this pay-per-view is supposed to be. If you literally make it look like SmackDown or a Raw show, we're expecting a letdown automatically. We're like, great. We paid $10 to have the network just to watch Raw and SmackDown on a Sunday.
And again, it goes back to like, let's go back to like No Way Out and Elimination Chamber. Like back in 2009, like even though yes, I disagree with the name and everything, but even during that time, I remember when I went to my first pay-per-view ever, my first ever wrestling show ever was Elimination in 2011. What was their stage? Well, they had the stage where it was like a basic stage stuff. But right where the Titantron is, right next to it, it was surrounded almost like Elimination Chamber type of style. So at least it had some mean behind it. At least it's like it feels like a pay-per-view because it's not your typical.
There's something that's not there every night of every time there's a show. There's something that stands out, something different.
My favorite pay-per-view ever. Not in terms of like pay-per-view.
The one where Jeff Hardy got lit on fire. I just wanted to point that one out. No, that was SmackDown.
It's just the pay-per-view I always love the most when it comes to the name and the sets. Always for me personally, not really for the pay-per-view quality matches. Those are very iffy. It was New Year's Revolution. First of all, the name it has a nice ring to it. And what I love about the stage was always unique. But the one thing I always remember, the dragon with the fire coming out of it, and I always saw that going. Like, I'm not going, when I see it from time to time, rewatch it, I get a tear in my eye because it's like, this is when I fucking loved WWE. This is when WWE was so fucking creative. They have this, even to Armageddon 2008.
And then they found the pink slips hidden in the drawer and the desk and the roof that was cemented closed. Yeah, they gotta find the guy who found that treasure and gave it up and just shoot him.
Like,
I mean, why did you fire all the guys who were literally making it so good? But
well, like for example, I want to show Brandon this very quickly. I want to show him quickly the Armageddon stage back in 2008 because Mitch and Jared talked about this, and I want to show what I'm talking about because this was one of the biggest stages they ever freaking did, and it was just so massive. Yeah, I want to just show him very quick so he understands what I'm talking about. If I could just fucking find it. Here's like a basic of it.
Damn, they did a lot of work on.
Look at that! It looks like a giant tower, but it's like all destroyed. Like you see the rumbles, and there's like burnt stuff on it. Like here's a. But yeah, look at that! Look at that! Look how creative that is. That looks like Armageddon.
Well, at the same time, you can also blame Jeff Hardy for jumping off of every single one of them. Every time they made something, he jumped off it. It was like,
and then look at it. Look at it. This was Royal Rumble 2015. Look at that. Look at that. That's so basic. That's nothing like a peanut. That looks like a Raw or SmackDown. And then that's our biggest problem. It's just like Fastlane has no meaning, and pay-per-views lack creativity, and there's lack of creative writing.
All right, so
we're gonna go back.
Now that we're there, we're gonna go ahead and go back up and take a look at this. Oh, Harry Flynn's already there. I want Rollins versus Angle at Mania.
I agree.
Did I just say something?
I was saying.
I know. I kind of want to see Angle versus Jason Jordan. Daddy versus son. Just to end it, you know. Son's gonna beat Daddy.
Well, Jason Jordan is out with injury right now. He just had surgery, so thank God.
Can be the 14th pick in fantasy draft. He called the Harry pick. Yes, it can. Yeah, and it will. Harry Flynn, my prediction is Corbin and Ziggler will be added to the KO Zayn Styles WWE title match.
Pick up 5-way.
That'd be nice.
But it's lazy. It's fucking lazy. There's no story behind it. How should we get invested?
I can't say Raw was good this week. I fast forward through 90% of it, but I did watch more of it than I did to watch.
Raw was not that good. It was very lackluster.
What about Smack 'em Whack 'em? No, it was. I was bored with both shows. There's Jack, not Jax. Jack. What up, guys? Harry Flynn message retracted. He got upset. Harry Flynn, a punch in the nuts match. Yes, I would watch that. Sorry, I only had one stipulation match at TLC.
That's right. That's right. It didn't even feel like a TLC.
What was the stipulation for that match?
It was just the 3-on-5 Vince Russo shit match where it was supposed to be a TLC match with the Shield reunited, but Roman's got sick and they had Kurt Angle, and it didn't even feel like a TLC. It didn't even feel like a TLC. And why did they go Kane turn him or something? Strowman?
Yeah, it was like a live show that nobody cared about.
It was just random.
Another Flynn. I saw the '92 Royal Rumble match. Commentary is great. The stories like Savage trying to trick Jake Roberts, Piper trying to being a dual champion, Flair trying to break Rick Martel record. Another Flynn. WWE likes fisting, I guess. Well, big fist. My favorite stage is Cyber Sunday 2008. 2008 Cyber Sunday.
Yeah, let me see. I remember there was a Cyber Sunday where it actually looked like a giant keyboard. You look, I think it was 2006, I think it was, but it literally looked like a giant computer, but in the actual stage was like like a keyboard. And I thought that was kind of cool. Like even that, like, let me see here.
What do we got here?
Oh,
It was a phone. It was a giant fucking phone. How creative do you have to be to say, I want to make this look like my iPhone?
Yeah, I mean, look, this was the old SmackDown set 2 years ago too.
Yeah.
Even that's unique looking. Like Survivor Series, like that looks unique. Like look at WrestleMania 23, like, and that's the only thing they actually do creative is WrestleMania. WrestleMania is the only way to do creative.
But click on this phone thing. I want to see this one up on the left hand side.
I think it's just a demo version of it, but that's pretty much the basics of it.
So what? It just had a fucking phone style in front of it.
Pretty much, it looks like.
What the? Okay then.
Well, I mean, here's like another picture from a fan. Like you see the phone there.
God, that is dumb as hell.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, that kind of represents today.
You can see my sign. What? Oh, yes, here. Let's face it, Fastlane will always be the worst pay-per-view ever. Like every single year. I'm sorry. What was the one we hated from TNA the most?
No, we're saying in terms of WWE.
Yeah, but he said ever. Yes, you can see my sign. Triple H should run the main roster.
Yes, fucking great. Get it over with.
That's not gonna happen.
It better fucking happen. I swear to God.
It's not gonna happen.
Have you been reading the reports?
He's slowly taking control. I know.
Never say never. Remember that. Anything can happen.
But he has to be approved for 2/3 of the board, and it's not going to happen because
never say that.
Because 3/4 of the board hates Triple H.
Never say that.
They literally fucking just hate him. They're like, "Hey, how do you feel about this guy?" They're like, "Fuck him. Who gives a fuck? He was a wrestler trying to run a company. Fuck him. What is he, Hulk Hogan?" Anyways, this was mostly about our rant on pay-per-views. We didn't really go way too much into it, but Fastlane was my main focus because it's just too close to WrestleMania for it to mean nothing.
Well, I hate Fastlane too. And again, because I'm on pay-per-view, don't think I had my problems with Fastlane. I fucking hate Fastlane. I get sick of ranting on it. Like when it comes to shows, I want to come up here and say, yeah, this wasn't too good, but I really like this match. I love the stuff they did here. I want to talk positive. And people keep saying that all I do is fucking rant. Well, if the shows actually fucking put in the fucking effort and have some fucking meaning behind it, I would be complaining. We would be up here like takeover events where we talk more positive about them. Why do we keep saying takeovers are fucking better? I'd rather watch an hour of NXT than fucking 3 hours of a Raw. Fuck, like seriously, like what they're doing. Velveteen Dream should on the main roster would be a fucking jobber. Right now, he's one of the hottest things of fucking NXT right now. Am I fucking wrong on there? Like seriously, fucking Gargano, fucking Cena almost had a 5-star match at that same event. That was during the same time as Rumble. And what happened? That show was still a good show. And what about Rumble? Besides the 2 Rumble matches, everything else felt filler. Even the World Title matches, they're major title matches, like they're supposed like WWE Championship match. That's the most prestigious title was lackluster, and then fucking the Universal title, but they claim to say it's bigger than WWE Championship, which is bullshit. That was sloppy and slow and boring. It's just a 10-minute excuse to get Lesnar on pay-per-view because fucking WWE's too lazy to fucking do like Lesnar Finn Balor or Lesnar fucking Cesaro or something actually exciting. They just throw in Kane in there and Strowman. It's just like that's fucking lazy. Like, and then they did the same thing for all the weeks. It wasn't like anything creative. It was always they're all attacking each other and Strowman kills them or they get into a big scuffle and then it was always the same thing every week. It was like, how many times do you need to? No joke, but Brandon and I watched Raw first time together, and God knows how long because I didn't have work that day and I got off. We were like looking at that segment. It's like 5 minutes in with Lesnar and Kane fighting or whatnot, and then we looked at each other like, that was a waste. That was stupid.
The fuck was the point of this shit?
It was just stupid. Like,
who the fuck came up with this? What turd sandwich can't this fall out of? They're just like, okay, shake the sandwich, 2-piece fellas. Like, okay, Kane and Lesnar are gonna have a bit upset. Since when the fuck does Kane talk?
It's just that's the basic. And again, we could go on and forever. But following is this: be creative with pay-per-views, and And when you do a pay-per-view, for example, if you're gonna come with something new, like a roadblock or over the limit or a Fastlane, in particular,
come up with the reason why it's called that,
and give it a purpose. Like it doesn't have to be like, don't make it as big as me. It's not gonna top that, but at least make it work. Where it's like, I want to see this show because it has a purpose, it has a meaning for me going forward to get me excited. Maybe there's some things that switch up. And when it comes to Fastlane, when it comes to that segment, for the build-up, for all that time you have, especially for SmackDown, because that you get a lot more time to build, you can have, like, for example, AJ Styles, WWE Champion, bump into guys like Randy Orton or Rusev, and you could do, like, little teases. So it kind of gets you, like, oh, like, they could do Rusev and AJ Styles. Like, Rusev could get a shot at the title eventually. Like, they could do little teases like that. Have some of the guys, like, win their matches so it gets a little bit more momentum, like a Dolph Ziggler. So when Ziggler maybe fights AJ, it's not a fucking joke. It's not just a random match like you see on a live event. It has some more purpose behind it. Or you could be a little tease like you said. Maybe they did something like Cesaro Sheamus on Raw, and maybe there's, like, a time where maybe they lose a match or something and they start getting a little bit a dissension while they're champions, like times worldwide, where they lost a few times. But instead, turn a story where they're starting to get a little bit frustrated as a tenant because they're losing to nobody. So maybe that can be a tease of maybe they want to surrender their titles, or one of them wants to, and then they go after the WWE Championship. And you could do little stuff like that. We're not saying Vince Russo the fucking shit up and be fucking overcomplicated, but that's why we love NXT, because the stories are simple but effective. I go by that motto. Simple but effective. You don't have to have like a caveman fucking storyline to fucking be a good storyteller. But instead, that caveman storyline was, even in Triple H's mind, was one of the worst things he's ever been part of. And yes, it's true. But the point is, with Fastlane, even with this one segment, you can still, this doesn't have to be just the one segment. You can slowly tease it. And then when you do this segment, it has a little bit more meat because it gets people talking. Because it's like, look at all these ideas they can do. And it gets people talking. And then it passes the fucking message around. Because what happens? Then people go, oh, gee, did you see the segment with Orton and fucking, like, imagine if you promo this like months in advance, like a month in advance before the show, but they said they're going to announce the official matches at the SmackDown before, and then during that time they do like little teases or slight build-ups or like little stuff like that.
Where like you have the Miz walk up to AJ Styles, and they're both holding their titles. He looks down at Miz looks down at his title. Oh, I'm gonna be the Miz.
Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode looks down at his title. Then he turns his head a little bit and looks down at the WWE title. He's like, that would be a tease,
like a little smart or something like that. Or have like, maybe have like, yeah, like the Usos maybe they come over, maybe have a little tension or something. Maybe they bump into AJ. They just look at the championship and they kind of smile, but they look at each other and they have this smile where they slowly start frowning at each other, like little stuff like that. Or like do that with Chad Gable, Shelton Benjamin.
Like one of the first things you'd run into, and this wouldn't shit the match, is if a straight up tag team that has no chance of doing like individuals would have being a one-on-one individual match competitors hand in their titles for a shot to make it a triple threat, and like you'll get like I said, like the Usos, they do the double super kick, and one's gonna go for the pin, and the other one's gonna knock them off and go for the pin, and then it's gonna start a feud between them, and they're just gonna kick each other in the face, and then the main, you know what? It's predictable. The main champion is going to retain his title, but it gives you the opening to tear those people apart if they are better single competitors.
Well, even this too. The two that come to mind comes to tag teams that actually work better than the Usos: Gable, Benjamin, and the New Day. Really think about that for a second. Can you imagine if they fucking did something similar in New Day and it becomes a four-way, and that could cause tension where New Day officially splits up? And
for those of us who have been thinking about it, I mean, you can split up Sheamus and Sorrow, or you can split up Tyler Breeze and Fandango.
Gable and Benjamin.
Yeah, both of them are great individual wrestlers.
And I mean, let's be honest. I hate saying this. Gable and Benjamin haven't really been doing anything with me as tag team. And it's
plus, because it also lines them up to the village where they could actually reunite American Alpha.
They could. But you also got two mid-card future main eventers as well. Like you have Gable and Benjamin. Benjamin's a veteran. He can help with the U.S. title picture. And you got Gable. Can you imagine fucking Gable and AJ Styles together? Like how Gable's the same guy that made fucking Rusev have almost a pay-per-view quality match on random SmackDown. Imagine him in an underdog story with someone like AJ. And imagine like if that was the predicament, like if Gable's like a mid card champion, or let's say like he spends a week.
He wins the U.S. title a week before the official hand-in, and he's like, I'm on a roll, cash it in, boyo. And he goes for the main title, and he's going against AJ Styles. It'd be like, wow, well, the other person still gets their rematch. Now they're going to be wrestling for a vacant title.
So that could be Bobby Roode versus somebody. Or, maybe it's like a pick your opponent or like open challenge. Yeah. Shelton Benjamin takes it.
Or if they really want to really promote it, and they didn't think that Bobby Roode needed the title right at the point, they could really just have him get his rematch, lose, and Gable could then turn in at the end of the night after that, and then you'll have just a whatever. You'd have two random people.
And again, like I said, the more I think about it, the more I love it more. It's just how it all comes on, because on paper, it's one thing to say like it's the same thing when it comes to matches and sales when do commentary.
But when you start to question it, you come up with all these possibilities, and it just explodes the doors outward. Just
and talk about imagine how you get like NXT call-ups too. Like imagine like on Raw, like how Raw roster is. It's pretty stale. Imagine they get a few more NXT guys on there. The fucking, I would love. Imagine this, fucking like you said. What if Sheamus decides to get rid of his title and Cesaro doesn't want to? Like you said, Sheamus versus let's say Roman Reigns again. The match would be that great, but who cares? But then you'll get more curious, like okay, who's Cesaro's partner going to be? And then maybe the night at Fastlane, the number one contenders. Let's just say I don't know, like the Revival. Let's say the Revivals were the number one contenders, and then Cesaro comes out and he's like he has no partner yet, but he says I got somebody make his main roster debut. It's Cassius Ohno. We get the Kings of Wrestling back together, and everyone's fucking happy. And yeah, Cesaro is a tag team, but at least a tag team we actually want to be a part of. And gets Cassius out. They'll do something.
That'll be a really interesting one, just because. What if Aleister Black came back and he tagged with freaking Finn Balor? Their speed and intensity alone, dude. Holy shit, dude.
Well, it's just like, and that's the point.
That's one of the things where like their matches, as long as the other team can take a hit, literally, maybe their matches would just keep going. And almost had it. Oh, he broke up the pinfall.
And when he mean by stipulations, he doesn't mean like every match is going to be extreme rules. Like you can have like a match where it's like an open challenge. It could be a submission match. It could be a street fight. It could be an Iron Man match.
There's one that's going to be that's going to says traditional, which means you just have a one-on-one straight-up match.
It could be a special guest referee. It could be anything.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Just because the roulette says it this year doesn't mean it's going to say it next year. It can always change. And like I said, there's going to be squares that are little pieces that are going to come off like Velcro because they're not going to fit in case you need to do a tag team. If you have to do the tag team, they're going to walk over and grab like 6 or 7 of them off, and there's going to be 6 or 7 new stipulations because they have to fit a tag team division to make it fit.
And they can always change that every year.
It's hard to have a triple threat match with tag team, so it'd be like a 4-team tornado tag type of thing. It'd have to be something bigger to equivalent to a triple threat match.
Well, you can still do a triple threat tag team. Honestly, those are a little bit easier 4-ways. That's what I've seen. But besides the point, it's just like, and also when you do that is just because it takes you out and you put a few new ones in, it keeps it fresh.
Exactly.
And the only thing now, some people might question like, well, the women's title. Well, you can do something made somewhere, but just with its own little thing too.
The problem with doing it is that there's only one title for women's division. If they were to promote a secondary women's division title, like women's tag team champions, maybe something along those lines. But they won't. They haven't had in the 30 years I've been in 25 years I've been watching.
Well, I think it's like
they haven't tried.
Well, you could do something like the wheel, unfortunate, or the wheel thing like person where Dark Real did, like whoever the person laying out, they would have to get a shot at world title against Mil Muertes. You can always do something like that with like one of the compares, like you do slow build up. And let's say,
well, the point of it was literally that you give up something for the main for a bigger shot.
Right. I understand, but like some people might question the women's thing. It's like, well, the women's that could be its own thing. Like, I'm not saying fuck the women's division, but I'm just saying that it's like saying it's a little hard because it's the only women's title. Now, if it was something like men and women can both men and women can fight for, then that would be a different story. But we're talking about women. But even then, you can still do something with a women's division. It's with the proper build of it, depending on who you have. But the point is, like I said, it's about the world title, but it's also about the mid card title. It's about tag team because at the same time, it's like
You could just spin the wheel for the stipulation for a women's match,
or like a pick up a character or something. Like you could do. And like I said,
I mean, like one of the stipulations I still want to forward to the WWE would be under this. It would be literally a vacation, not vacation, vacationing. It's you literally have to vacate your title, so you have to win it back to get it back. That was one of the stipulations. Like you can't win by countouts or disqualification.
There must be a winner.
You literally have to win to get your title back, and you don't have to vacate it, but you have to win to get it.
It was pretty much like the Rollins and Finn Balor Universal Time match, where there was no counts or disqualification, but they very specified saying there has to be a winner. There has to be a clear definitive winner, pinfall or submission only to become the first champion.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking at. You can't win a championship by disqualification or countout. So, bam, there you go.
But bottom line, we've been talking too much, but we got Jason somewhere very soon. But that's pretty much our little rant and everything. So, if you're watchers, take this in consideration. We're not saying like you have to do this. You're not.
Yes, you do have to do it. Fuck you guys.
Or at least do something.
That's the WWE. Yeah, fuck them.
But it's just like, do something that makes the pay-per-view actually mean something and it actually gives it some sort of relevance instead of like having roadblock where it's just like, here's a random live event, here's a free show. It's like imagine, and what sucks to me more is we as a network, I'm lucky. Imagine someone didn't have the network, they had to pay like $65 for Fastlane to pay for it.
And it sucked that hard.
Imagine that. Can you imagine that wasted money?
I'd want to kill them.
Dude, I fucking did that for WrestleMania 29. I got that in HD. It was like almost $8. Wasted one of the biggest waste of my time. And I was already in like hot water with my parents at that time. And fucking I watched this shit and I wasted $8 on that. Worst man I've ever witnessed in my life. And I regret that.
Was that the one where Orton won something?
No, that was the only good match was CM Punk and Undertaker. And then, of course, it was The Rock and Cena 2, which was a finisher fest. That's all it was.
Hey, let me just hit you with your own finisher.
And they kicked out like 10 finishers each. It was like, the hell? Like, this isn't storytelling. It's just kick out finisher fest. Like, but that's besides the point. Bottom line is, we're still going to watch Fastlane. We're going to watch Chamber. We're still going to watch pay-per-views. But we just want minor changes.
A little more usefulness out of these pay-per-views.
Creativeness, usage, more passion into it. Like, I actually give a shit. Because back then, they give a shit about all the pay-per-views, even their B shows. Their B shows felt like a big deal. Even if not every single match was the fucking, fucking shits and everything, but at least they put some fucking effort to make it like, you have to watch this. Fuck, No Mercy. They built up an entire tournament, and the winner was fucking Chris Benoit. US title. Big Kid title. It was great. That's pretty much the basis of it. So that's I hope you all consider that. But out of that, we're gonna get going a little bit. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. And again, also thank Brian for coming with this idea because he wanted to do this since last night, and he had this idea.
Just for shits and giggles, if you're creating enough to fix the problem, look outside your company. It ain't hard to find someone with an idea. Whether it be throwing eggs at the opponents while they're wrestling for their titles, or someone coming up with this, it ain't hard.
In the words of the Lexman, the famous YouTuber once said,
"Fuck you."
No. in the words of the Lexman, if you're watching a product and you say out loud, "I can write a better show," that means you need to do something. When a fan says they can watch a show and go, "They can write a better show than this."
When Brando says he can strap a pencil to his penis and draw out a better plan for that show, that's some serious talent right there in your penis. Oh, look, you dropped the viewer.
Either that, thank you guys for watching this video.
14!
Jinx!
What are we going to call it now? We're not going to call it the hairy number?
The Flynn number or something. The Flynn number, sir.
Flynn 14? Flynn 14. There we go. Flynn 14.
You know what? If Harry Flynn was arrested, that'll be his finisher. Flynn 14. That's it. I'll give you another one. That's for 3 points. So I'm gonna take care of all my peeps. I'm President. This is
an asshole who knows something that doesn't matter.
Take care, guys.